The desert roared with the thunder of engines and artillery as a swirling sandstorm cloaked the advancing British tanks. Under the cover of night and grit, Commonwealth forces prepared to launch an audacious assault against an Italian army 5 times their size. It was December 1940 in the harsh Libyan desert, and Operation Compass, the first major Allied military offensive of World War II, was about to reshape the North African front and shock the world. Welcome to History in a Hurry. I'm Eli Stone, and in this episode we will learn about Operation Compass during World War II. Operation Compass, launched by the British and Commonwealth forces during the Western Desert Campaign, was a bold and unexpected strike against the Italian 10th Army in North Africa. What began as a limited 5-day raid turned into a sweeping victory that would capture thousands of prisoners, seize key territory, and cripple Italian hopes in the region. This operation showcased the effectiveness of maneuver warfare, flexibility, and superior leadership under extreme conditions. Italy had declared war on the Allies in June 1940, and by September, Marshal Rodolfo Graziani had reluctantly advanced from Libya into British-controlled Egypt. Although Mussolini demanded swift action, Graziani hesitated, concerned about the lack of tanks, supplies, and infrastructure. Nevertheless, Italian forces captured the small town of Sidi Barrani in Egypt, establishing a chain of fortified camps along the coastal road. These positions were spread too thin across the desert and lacked mutual support, an error that British commanders would soon exploit. Facing the Italians was the British Western Desert Force, a lean but highly mobile and well-led group under General Richard O'Connor, operating under the overall command of General Archibald Wavell. Though outnumbered, 36,000 Allied troops against over 150,000 Italians, the British possessed critical advantages in tactics, coordination, and equipment. They employed the Matilda II infantry tank, heavily armored and virtually impervious to most Italian anti-tank weapons, as a spearhead. On December 9, 1940, Operation Compass began with a surprise attack on the Italian camp at Nabiwa. Supported by accurate artillery and the heavily armored Matildas, British and Indian troops quickly overwhelmed the Italian defenses. The success at Nabiwa was followed by swift attacks on nearby camps such as Tummer East and Tummer West. Italian forces, caught off guard and unable to communicate effectively, collapsed under the pressure. In just 2 days, over 5,000 Italian soldiers were taken prisoner. O'Connor, recognizing the opportunity to exploit the momentum, pushed further west despite the operation's original 5-day limit. The British captured Sidi Barrani on December 11th, forcing a general Italian retreat toward the Libyan border. What had been intended as a limited raid transformed into a full-blown offensive. The Allies pursued the retreating Italians across hundreds of miles, capturing Salem, Bardia, and Tobruk in quick succession. Each battle further decimated Italian morale and capabilities. One of the most remarkable aspects of Operation Compass was the logistical feat of sustaining a fast-moving offensive across the inhospitable Western Desert. British forces utilized captured Italian supplies and airfields, while their mobile support columns ensured that fuel, ammunition, and water were always close behind. Air support from the Royal Air Force harassed Italian supply lines and provided critical reconnaissance. In January 1941, the British captured Bardia and Tobruk, taking tens of thousands of prisoners and large quantities of equipment. The final blow came at the Battle of Beit Affam in early February. O'Connor's forces conducted a daring maneuver, cutting off the Italian retreat along the coast road. With no route of escape, the remnants of the Italian 10th Army surrendered. In total, Operation Compass resulted in over 130,000 Italian prisoners, the capture of over 400 tanks and 1,200 artillery pieces, and the near-total destruction of Italian forces in Cyrenaica. The success of Operation Compass stunned observers worldwide. A smaller, under-resourced British force had decisively defeated a much larger Italian army. The operation demonstrated the potential of fast, armor-led maneuver warfare in desert conditions, a lesson that would shape future campaigns in North Africa. It also marked the beginning of a more active Allied posture in the Mediterranean, eventually leading to the entry of German forces under Erwin Rommel and the prolonged North African campaign. However, despite its brilliance, Operation Compass was not fully capitalized upon. Strategic decisions, including the diversion of British troops to Greece, limited further exploitation of the victory. Additionally, General O'Connor was captured in early 1941 during a reconnaissance mission, removing a key leader just as the war in North Africa was escalating. Nonetheless, Operation Compass remains a textbook example of military surprise, operational flexibility, and effective leadership. It transformed the morale of Allied forces, embarrassed fascist Italy on the world stage, and proved that the Axis powers could be defeated through daring and determination. In the unforgiving sands of the Western Desert, the tide of World War II had begun to shift. Thanks for racing through history with us on History in a Hurry. If you enjoyed today's quick dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a fast-paced trip through time. Please reply in the comments with ideas for our next history lesson. See you in the next one.